You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show. You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show.
And we're live.
Yes,
after
we
a
are.
bit of adventure. Sorry about the strangeness with hosting there. I've never seen Twitch do that before. We had hit
that's
on host.
a
If
first.
some of you are able to watch this and some of you aren't, please tell the people that are still seeing the Mind One hosting to just hit refresh until it gets unfucked.
I mean, let's be honest here. We always have one glitch on this show, and maybe that's just our glitch for the show, right? I feel like the Apollo mission pilots that used to say that every time they went out in space. It's like, yeah, we just had our glitch for the mission. All right, we're good to go.
So I thought we were going to have Haiwanto on earlier when Boat was posting about the show earlier. I thought we were going to have Haiwanto and Killaby and stuff like that. That did not happen. I got Killaby at the last minute, and we have a bunch of stuff to talk about. So for those of you that I know that when we were doing the fireside, I was pitching this amazing Haiwanto, Killaby, Jerry Springer kind of thing, which is what happened the last time those two got into it. But that was my fault. I was wrong. Whoops. Sorry about that. But we do have a bunch of shit to go over, and some of it's kind of dark. Let me make sure that everybody can see us.
Yeah,
and
so
things are working.
Also, tell me what you guys think of the microphone. So I went and played with the microphone settings, and apparently it's supposed to sound way better. According to people yesterday, it sounds way better. So I'm curious if this works.
Yeah, I mean, also, if Haiwanto has changed his mind and does want to come on, we had to change Discords. We're normally on the Meta Show Discord, but we're on INN because Discord is having some issues today, and only partnered channels seem to be working with voice comms.
Yeah, it's weird. This happens about once a month. I don't know if there's some big Twitch event going on or something, but whatever, lots and lots of people are using Discord. This is the shit that goes down. So, yeah, welcome to the show. It's going to be an interesting show. We have two big things to talk about. Obviously, the Fountain 3 are free. Us here at the Meta Show, we've always said they would be, and well, now they are officially. That's a very wonderful thing. And we're also going to talk about War and Eve. This was going to be last week's topic, but it got pushed back a week due to conflicting representatives. Also, Killaby, I hope you don't mind. I have you as a PLB type thing because I forgot to update you on your little name tag. It's been a while, so sorry.
That's fair enough.
So yeah, do we want to get into this? Do we want to start?
Yeah, I want to kick things off. Let me make sure that Haiwanto isn't abandoned over here. Hold on a moment.
Yeah, you're fine.
He's actually, Hai is not actually waiting in the Meta Show chat in the other Discord, so he is not, in fact, being on.
Yeah. So I'm gonna press a fancy button and we'll get started right away. Because top story. So our top story today is the same top story that we've kind of been covering for a few weeks now, and it's Vindication Day for the Fountain 3. I love how
the term... the Initiative 3, but...
Our Initiative 3, some people said Fountain. Either way,
it's got a better ring for it.
Okay, so the Initiative 3, and this is my statement as I say it, because I've always believed that they would be free and that they would be cleared pretty much instantly. So here's what I have to say. It says, from the Meta Show, we stood behind the Initiative 3 from the beginning. We always knew the information that CCP had would be on shaky ground. I think I talked to some 50 people over the last 3 weeks of various affiliations trying to figure out if the findings were legit or not. And what I had was they were not, and that they never would hold up, and that the appeal was made based on facts that was collected. Sister Bliss himself had collected a lot of facts, and then after CCP did their own investigation, found them to be innocent. The internal findings over an initiative matched up with CCP's investigation, and all three were unbanned with an apology from CCP. And before any other comments, this is a big deal. We've been saying this for 3 weeks.
Let's get into this. So first of all, one of the things I'm seeing in chat is that the guys from Stuffed Out are saying that we're trying to keep Haiwanto out or something. He's not in the Meta Show Discord. He wasn't there. He can join us. I'll say right here. The main INN links in the link, and he can join.
Yeah, right. I mean, I said it to him earlier. I talked to him earlier that normally when Haiwanto comes on, usually there's a guest opposite of him, and they go at it. That's not the plan this week. The plan is to talk about the fact that CCP has done something they've never done before, and then we're going to talk about War and Eve. And I'm pretty sure Fraternity Test War with our Russian friend here, career, has nothing to do with Snuffbox. So, yeah.
Okay. So, one of the things. So, here's what I want to talk about. I'm just going to go on sort of a little rant about what's been happening here. So, obviously the biggest news in EVE Online recently is the fact that the Initiative Free were found innocent. And one of the things I said 2 weeks ago when we were discussing this in depth is the fact that there was this huge cross-EVE smear campaign. Brisk Rubal was turned into a scapegoat. He was his real name was plastered across the entire internet, including in the mainstream media. And even though CCP has now announced that they done fucked up and admitted it, which is progress at least, it's still going to take years potentially to undo any damage. Brisk is always going to be confronted by these news stories, and then the truth is going to be far less scandalous and interesting than the reality, than the smears that happened against him to begin with. So I'm glad that we were on the right side of history. Like when we got here on the Meta Show and we said, wait a second, this whole thing fucking stinks. What's up with this? This show was one of the few voices in support of the Initiative 3. We were proven correct.
The big thing about this, too, is not just being a voice. I mean, there were show after show after show that bashed him. I mean, Variety had a piece about it that was pretty big deal. But it was the vitriol he got on Reddit. There were 1,000 posts, and every one of them said, "Look, you're just." Oh, sorry. Hello. Is that better?
I am really kind of curious about this. Like, guys, we're on the main 9 in Discord. You can herf blurfs about like freeing stuff and freeing Haiwanto as much as you want.
I mean, I can just, look. If we want to go there, I could get into this right now, but we won't need to. But no, seriously though,
checking the Meta Show Discord, and he's not.
He could just PM me. Like, it's not like I've banned him from talking to me. Stop trying to speak for Haiwanto. He speaks for himself pretty clearly every time he comes on here. But let's get back to this. Here's the big deal. This is a first in two ways for CCP. Number one, they never publicly banned someone in this manner in the years since the game has been alive. Even the T20 incident was very quietly handled behind closed doors, and they said, oops, we've taken care of it. Everything was quiet. They've always done this. When they remove a CSM member, when they ban anyone, it's quiet. They don't make big public statements. And their apology was equally as rare because they don't come out with big, huge, oops, we fucked up. They don't do this. Like, this is not a CCP normal thing. So this tells you right away, this is a big deal. And it's going to be a big deal even after this apology, because if you look right away, we've got several media sources. I think PC Gamer was the first. Within seconds of CCP posting that, they already had an article out apologizing right away. Boom. Some places, though, and I'm going to give you guys a link so you can go through this on your own. Some places still haven't said anything retracting their statements. I mean, this is Brisk's Twitter, and he's already going to town on some of these places that said some pretty nasty things, asking for retractions, or rather requiring one. And some of them still haven't. So this is going to be an interesting view, right? So that's the big deal there. Also, I got to say this, and this is my opinion, and others will have their opinion, but I don't care who pushed to get them banned. I don't care. Like, if evidence is there that says, look, we feel that they did something wrong, It has to be investigated. Maybe CCP fucked up and didn't investigate it thoroughly enough. I don't know. But there's been bans at CCP before where it's safer to ban first, then look at it again later. Because if you look at their first post, it screamed huge game-breaking money transactions, right? So that's a pretty big deal. You don't overlook that. So that's what we've been saying here on the Meta Show for the last 3 weeks, and I'm glad that they're unbanned because Brisk is a pretty nice guy. I like Brisk. And Pando and Darkshines are equally nice people to work with. As an FC, we've worked with them before on many levels. So, yeah, pretty awesome.
I'm kind of, hang on.
Sorry.
I need to sort something out here. We haven't, Haiwanto hasn't been banned from chat or anything, has he?
No, not that I'm aware of. No, I have never banned him. And if he was banned, he would be messaging me in Discord going, "Bo, why am I banned?" Because we were literally just talking 2 minutes ago before the show started. Right, but here's what Eric Askama points out. There were not huge game-breaking transactions. Yes, so CCP did an internal investigation, found that the evidence that they were given wasn't founded solidly. We've seen this before with investigations where you do the first investigation, go, oh, fuck, we got to ban this guy. Then they do the second investigation, and you go, well, can we prove it? And it doesn't look like they could prove it. So they had to unban him. I mean, if you can't prove that he broke NDA, which is a big statement, right? Like, I don't know, Mittens, how you feel about NDAs and lawyers and stuff, but if you can't prove that someone broke NDA, can you actually come out and say he broke it? Is that something they'd have to retract? Oh, God, did I cut off again?
No, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. I'm not sure if the guys and stuff are trolling us or something like that.
They are. Yes, I'm pretty sure.
What we're trying to find out.
Well,
like,
I want to say something.
On the show, we can get him
there he is. Okay, so I want to ask this question, and you can comment on this.
Let me. Hi, say something such that people stop freaking out if you get it.
Hello.
They thought I banned you. Come on, help us out here.
Yeah, but
there we go.
All good.
Okay, so yeah, we've definitely had a shitload of drama. So now that this is over, because I didn't want to sit here and go on like a big monologue or anything like that. If people are trying to get on and say whatever, it has been definitely a interesting period of time. And I was told that Hi and Caleb, you wanted to get on the show initially, and I wasn't sure that that's actually happening. Hi, did you want to say anything about the drama or any of this nonsense?
Well, I mean, it's kind of insinuated that Killerby did it, right, from his eagerness to go on the show, and I just want to, know why, like, if he did it, what was the reasoning behind kind of reporting them in the first place? Because the only thing I could see was because Shine sold his Morlock, but then if he sold his Morlock, how did Pando play into that? I just don't.
I mean, Killa, you have been getting accused from a number of people of being responsible for the what ended up happening with the Initiative 3. Do you have a statement? Is there something that you would like to say or that you can say?
Yeah, as I explained before the show, I'm very limited on what I can say because the way that, this whole thing went down, we were basically asked to keep it very quiet publicly by CCP. So I'm very much limited on what I can say. I think I can speak very generally, and we're definitely, as a CSM, we're definitely obligated to report stuff that is being brought to us if it could be something that CCP might be interested in, right? So if I'm forwarded something by a person, and then I have to basically forward the information to the right people within CCP, because if I do not do that, and then the person that forwarded it to me goes on and he's mad, right? He's mad because I didn't forward it to CCP or something, and then he goes and posts it on Reddit. It's like, I gave this CSM rep this information, it was never forwarded, then I would be in trouble, right? So that's pretty much as far as I can go. Yeah.
So what you're saying is kind of like you gave information to CCP and then they overreacted and went and banned more people than they should have, and not, well, they shouldn't have banned anyone really, right? So you're just saying they're overreacting.
Obviously, we as the CSM are not involved in any investigation that CCP do when they are investigating something like this. So, if anything, all I did was forward some evidence that was given to me, and then anything above that, anything more than that, is entirely CCP's decision.
Okay, so here's a question that I have. There's definitely been injustice bothers me, right? In general, one of the reasons why I started ranting a couple of weeks ago on the Meta Show about how I believe that the Initiative 3 were innocent is because even though, I'm somewhere to the left of Stalin, and even though Brisker Ball is like a Republican lobbyist and all sorts of stuff, like the dude was just getting fucked sideways for nothing that he deserved, and it just rubbed me the wrong way because the stuff just didn't add up. So I came out publicly talking a couple weeks ago about how even though the entirety of the game was howling for the blood of the Initiative 3 and throwing all these accusations around, that I thought that it was not just, and I thought that it wasn't right. And one of the things that sort of concerns me about all this is there's now sort of a similar backlash. So, okay, the Initiative 3 were innocent, CCP was in the wrong, and now there's this backlash against, I've seen it against Killa B, saying that he is a rat and all of these other things, that we should rush off to war against NC Dot. One of the questions that I have, so Killa B, you received this evidence that you sent over to CCP. Are you able to tell us who you received that evidence from as a player?
No.
Okay. Well, conveniently for you, I can.
Yeah,
I
so
can tell
I.
everyone, but please give me a moment.
Sorry.
I can say exactly who it was that gave the information to Killa B, and that was, correct me if I'm wrong, I suppose somebody can if they have to, is Peanut Smash, who is a longtime member of Pandemic Legion, who is currently within Snuffed Out. And one of the things that's been kind of curious to me about this, with all the finger pointing at Killa B, is what I smell here is a metagame sort of fork, right? If you have Dark Shines of Initiative sold his Moloch, which is a faction titan, to Peanut Smash, who is a member of Snuffed Out, which is blue to Initiative. And I don't think that this had anything to do with Haiwantu or anything. I'm not like doing a big like Gur snuff thing. But it's strange to me that in these circumstances, there's all these fingers being pointed at Killa B. If you're in a circumstance where Peanut Smash says, Dark Shine sold me a Moloch, and I think that there was a CSM leak about it, and I don't know if he had evidence about it or whatever, but whatever he presented to Killa B, essentially anybody on the CSM, if they had received that information, would have kind of been obligated to tell CCP, because the alternative is if they don't tell CCP, then what happens, right? Like, what happens if Peanut comes to Killa B and says, Brisk's a bad guy and he's leaking, and then Killa B says, okay, cool, and then does nothing, right?
Then Pen of Smash does what Pen of Smash always does, goes right to Reddit and makes a big Reddit post saying, look, here's a CSM member who's not doing his job to help the player base. And that becomes a shitstorm on the CSM's lap that is not needed at a time when Reddit already hates the CSM as a whole, right? They always view it as the GSM. They view even the people who work for everyone, like Brisk does.
I mean, I want to kill NC Dot. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, every single time that Goonswarm goes anywhere, our guns always point towards wherever Vince and his crew is. But one of the things that's strange in all of this drama of people being mad on behalf of Brisk, of people being mad on behalf of the Initiative 3, being mad at CCP, which is completely legitimate, it seems like it is too easy to blame Killa B. If any CSM receives information implying that there is a leak or a compromise, you are then, especially if there's evidence, you have to kick that up the chain, because otherwise there is a scandal of you not doing your job and not protecting the player base as a duly elected representative. The question that I have is, what is this? What was Peanut up to? I mean, Haiwanto, do you know what Peanut was doing with this and why he did that?
Well, I mean, I have also gotten word about the PNF thing, right? So I asked him, and he said that he'd only said it internally in Super and Titan Discord channels, and also on the Israel Discord. So, I mean, I have no reason to not believe him. And he did speak to Darkshines as well and apologize because he knew the bannings happened because of the Moloch, and him
So
and Darkshines
PNF apologized to Darkshines.
Well, because he felt bad because this all happened because he bought the Moloch, right? I mean, this is more for something to Killer B. Like, was it Peanut? As in, was it anybody that wasn't Peanut Killer? Since you can't, or was it Peanut? I guess. Like, if you say no, then it wasn't Peanut. But
I just can't say anything about
So
it.
this is a super awkward situation for Killer. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to hash this out, because here's the situation, and I don't mean hash this out between like Gunstorm and C or anything involving Snuff or whatever, but I mean more here is a situation just like where Brisk Rubal was a couple of weeks ago. Here's a guy who is accused of a bunch of shit, and he cannot defend himself because of the NDA that he signed.
He'd be re-breaking it, wouldn't he?
I'm curious that PNF apologized for that. That is interesting. So PNF apologized to Darkshines.
Let's find out, because I can PM Darkshines and ask him and see if he'll comment. But this is the thing that gets me. Does PNF even still have the Moloch? Like, because if it's all about PNF being worried that the Moloch got him banned, wouldn't he still have it? Or did he just grab it and then turn around and sell it immediately? Because that raises a pretty big flag for me. If the guy buys a Moloch for, say, 500 billion, then turns around and the next day sells it for 500 billion, and then immediately runs to a CSM member and says, oh my God, this guy sold me a Moloch because he knew it was going to be nerfed, then that's kind of fishy, isn't it?
I'm also still trying to process the whole, when PNF, like, what's the timeline? What do we know in terms of like public evidence? What's the timeline of Darkshine selling this thing to PNF? Like, when did that happen? Do we know the date of the sale?
I can't remember, but like PNF was only mad for a couple of days. Then I explained that the Hornerf isn't really that bad for Titans, and he didn't really care anymore because the Hornerf.
So he talked to you. So he was in Snuff at the time when it happened.
He talked in Snuff Discord, right? But then he sold it for the same value he bought it for, like straight after. Well, not straight after, but to another guy in Snuff. So the Moloch is still in Snuff. But
so the Moloch is in Snuff. PNF was in Snuff when Darkshine sold the Moloch. And did Darkshine sell the Moloch to PNF directly?
I think there was some no, because Darkshine said no, he was selling it to PNF. It was some obscure thing that happened that he got it.
Oh,
an obscure thing that happened.
This is interesting because
I remember on S-Smart.
I mean, he had been trying to sell this thing for months, wasn't he? At one point, he had a post on S-Smart, which is our very public and open
thing.
We had this very public and open thread that said, "Look, buy my Moloch," months ago. So for all of a sudden, for PNF just to buy it very obscurely, secretly.
The only thing I don't get though is why Panda would be banned because of that. How does Panda play into this?
I'm just kind of curious. I mean, from a practical perspective, because okay, guys, I just got back from Denver earlier in the week. It was 420. I spent 5 days there. I'm still kind of in recovery mode. My brain is not exactly working super well, but Snuff and Init are blue, and PNF sells this thing to Darkshines, maybe not directly, but through an obscure thing. Darkshine sells this thing to PNF through an obscure thing.
Well, he didn't know that he'd sold it to PNF because obviously you know how people get Titans out of Delve. They just use goon characters and whatnot and bullshit.
All right, I mean, even assuming that I believe that, right? Like, let's assume that I believe that. I don't even want to argue that because I don't have evidence one way or another on this. The thing that is so strange to me about this, and now keep in mind, from what I understand, I don't believe that PNF is in Snuff leadership or anything like this. And Goonswarm has a long history with this fucker because he was in Pandemic Legion for a long time. He was a Goonswarm schismatic. He was one of the guys who flounced off in the Darius Johnson days with Elite Ops or whatever. But he's basically been shooting my people and my tribe for like almost a decade now.
10 years.
He's
it is 10 years.
He's very quiet. Yeah. He's very dedicated. He's very quiet. He doesn't like being in the spotlight, which is one of the reasons why I'm looking around this and I'm going like, wait a second. It seems to me that this motherfucker did something to get two very critical FCs in the fucking Imperium banned using some meta play that is now being sort of put on Killa B. And I'm kind of wondering, why the fuck aren't people asking more questions about what did Peanut know? What was he doing? Why did he do these things? And who was in on it? Basically, that's what I want to know.
I mean, he basically said to me he didn't say it to Killer, so I don't have any reason to not believe him. And
I didn't know that so Peanut apologized to Dark Shines.
He only apologized.
I've messaged Dark Shines, and Dark Shines hasn't replied. So,
well, he only apologized because I confronted Peanut myself and said, like, "Did you do this?" And he said no, but it caused a lot of drama and it wasn't really cool. Like, the thing is, when Peanut joined Snuff, we knew there was hostility between Init and Snuff, and we kind of made him make sure that he was cool with Init. Yeah, sorry, made sure.
How did you make sure that?
Well, he talked with Bliss and smoothed some stuff out because obviously we'd been hunting Init, and they'd been hunting Init, and they like kind of smoothed some stuff out because there was some issues initially when he joined because obviously we don't shoot Init stuff.
So wait a second. I didn't know this, that there was I knew that Peanut was hostile to, obviously he's been a goon fucker and he's been trying to shoot us, and he's a very good hunter. Like, credit to Peanut, his EVE Online skill is he is a fantastic hunter. He's very dedicated. He does like to stay out of the limelight, which is part of the reason why I'm dragging his bitch ass into the limelight.
Okay, here we go.
But hang on a second. Like, you're saying that he had been hunting initiative prior to joining Snuff? That's what you just said.
He wasn't in Snuff, yeah.
Yeah, so before he was in Snuff, he had been hunting and going after initiative guys. And then after he's in initiative, he gets a Titan from Darkshines, complains to Killa B after the Moloch nerf or whatever happens, and then goes around and apologizes. And you guys had tried to clean up tension between Init and Peanut because he had been going after Init before, but then he does something that results in the top two Init FCs.
He still goes after Init, by the way.
I'm kind of curious for your evidence of this Peanut thing because you're kind of spinning this quite hard. So I want to know how you got this up.
What do you mean evidence? I don't need. You told me he apologized to Darkshines.
Yeah, because I basically
he apologized. I know that here is the chain of causality, right? And I'm sick of this fucking shit about all of this fucking Brit Screwball crap, because this entire nexus of drama has a whole bunch of people trying to avoid the actual fact pattern. Here's the fucking fact pattern. The fact pattern is this. Peanut Smash gets a Moloch from Darkshines. At the time, Peanut Smash is in Snuff. At some point later, these things get nerfed or whatever. Peanut Smash, Killa B can't say this, but I can. Peanut Smash complains to Killa B, and a formal complaint to kick it up to CCP. And at this point, I don't want to completely blame Peanut Smash, because let's just say that even if Peanut Smash has some responsibility in all this stuff, the next part of the fact pattern has nothing to do with us as players, right? Like, players of a video game can do a whole bunch of stupid shit and whatever, and I don't want to take the heat off of CCP's responsibility in this, because they are supposed to be the professionals in the room. And then when Killa B kicks this up to the chain, this complaint that came from Peanut Smash, then CCP overreacts and does a whole bunch of really stupid shit, which is incredibly regrettable and is entirely their fault, right? Like, this is, even if Peanut Smash has responsibility or was doing some sort of weird shit, even if you say that Killa B is a bad guy, none of that really matters, because CCP wasn't supposed to do any of this crap. But those are the facts. There was a sale of a Moloch, and Peanut then complained to Killa B. Killa B had to kick it up the chain, because if he didn't, then he would be in deep shit publicly, and he would have also committed an ethics violation. So Killa B did the right thing. CCP overreacts and does a whole bunch of really, really, really stupid shit. But now we as players have been focusing on this whole, is it Killa B's fault? Let's be mad at him. And who do we blame on the CSM? Instead of starting to ask questions about fucking Peanut Smash and his involvement and his motivation.
Well, you kind of started with, I don't need evidence. So either you work for CCP or
I'm the fucking Matani. I know what happens in this fucking game.
Someone's broken the NDA, right? And from Goons
No,
and
because I have a fucking spy network. I see what these people say, and Peanut Smash hasn't exactly been keeping his fucking mouth shut, has he? Especially because I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you said yourself before we got into this that Peanut had apologized to Dark Shines, because then I didn't have to break that fucking news myself. But I knew about that going into this. I knew why. I don't even.
Okay. Before we go over to there, I will say this: Pando and Dark Shines have both said this publicly as of last night, and I will point to this. You asked the question: how does Pando get caught up on this? Brisk had been talking with people at the CSM and players trying to get information on what he should ask CCP. Okay, this was an open conversation between him and Pando. Pando then talks to Dark Shines, and they go back and forth. Dark Shines then sells a Moloch to Penis Smash. Penis Smash knows about this chain of events and goes to the local CSM rep and says, CSM rep, here's what I know, here's what I have, here's the transaction. This needs to be investigated. Local CSM rep then goes to CCP, says, hey, CCP, here's what I have, dumps it on CCP's lap. What CCP does from there, between the moment that the CSM approaches CCP and the bans, is strictly on CCP to investigate. We cannot tell CCP who to ban. We can't tell them how to investigate, nor can we tell them how to ban. And I'll be honest, up until very recently, CCP wouldn't even accept third-party logs. Discord and Jabber, and you could literally show CCP that someone said in a Discord log that they were openly RMTing tens of trillions of ISK, and CCP would not accept that up until just recently. So how CCP investigated this, who knows? All we know is right now, from the moment CCP banned everyone, there was a second investigation. CCP internally looked at the facts again, found the facts to be not true, and immediately unbanned all three. That's what we know. That's what we see. So from there forward...
I apologize. One of the challenges is that, sometimes I do get a little angry, and I don't mean to, I just want to make it clear for everybody here that, this isn't some sort of big diplomatic thing. I'm not. Goons despise Penis Smash. He is a traitor to our people. He has been hunting our people ever since he bitched out with elitist ops, and he went for a long time in Pandemic Legion. So, I don't want to force, Haiwanto to be in a position where he has to defend Penis Smash. There's no reason for that. I do not. Because we're not in the same coalition anymore. We're not blue with snuff or whatever, but we're, sort of friends with benefits, I guess. And I don't need to be starting sort of big. Yeah, I don't want to be starting some sort of big, because the PNF isn't an actor. He's not a director. He's not an officer in snuff or anything like that. So I don't want people. I see people freaking out in chat because I'm getting, furious. I don't want people in chat to be thinking that I'm furious at snuff. I am obviously furious at Penis Smash because
right. I mean, it's an easy solution, right?
Other people, and in my view, a lot of the, he shares responsibility in this. Again, though, to be fair to Penis, even if he was attempting a meta play of some kind, CCP shouldn't have gone along with it, right? I just want people to be focusing on who are the ones that are taking the initiative on this, and not blaming Killa B as being a conduit, which isn't to say that I don't want to crush the shit out of NC Dot. I mean, Init and Snuff are working together against NC Dot, and we have been campaigning against NC Dot's Renter Empire, and I don't anticipate that changing anytime soon. It's time for war. We are hungry for war, and whenever Goonstorm goes to war, usually we end up shooting NC Dot. So, I just want to make sure that people understand the diplomatic context of me getting really fucking angry about this stuff. Because another thing...
Hold on, Killer B says, chat, Spire on fire, yo. It is. The Spire is dead zone. I don't think anything even exists in the Spire right now. It's just a dead place. But I will say this, and you're going to like this. This is something that hasn't really been shared. But I feel like since we're on the topic of sharing amazing things on the Meta Show, why not? You may remember a guy by the name of Manny, a war criminal of the Imperium and, goon hater extraordinaire. If you haven't heard recently, Manny has joined Test, took his whole corp and went to Test, left PL, that's Havoc, and has started hunting with vitriol and hate the PL NC. Renter programs, the Skill U rental programs, and doing the things that his downtime crew used to do to us against Bot and Skill U. He actually approached me very recently and asked if his guys could use the information that NGSA has to hunt people. He's been working with a guy by the name of Marshy to drop on supers and oracles with his own supers and dreads. And yeah, that's very interesting. And from what I
just
hear,
as a correction here, that Headliner points out in chat, also sub-Headliner, good to see you, is that Manny Scorp was in NC, not
NC.
PL,
Well, whatever. Anyways, he has
originally Manny during when we were killing his Titan Havoc was in PL at the time.
Okay, well, he's now in whatever. He's in test now, and he's pretty angry, and he's going after these people. And he didn't really express to me why he's angry, but he was pretty cool about the way he worded it. He's like, "Hey, Bo, you and I we've talked on a professional level for going on a decade now, and I have some things I need to settle with some hate with people. You might help me out." So, hey, fuck NC. That's my view of it. Anyone that wants to kill NC, let's kill NC. Also, you're hiding your face a little bit. You might want to like slide to your left a little bit.
That's because I'm angry.
Yeah.
I am.
Big props to Killerby, by the way, for like I kind of expected him to come on and meme his way through it, like he did with the Docufaction supers up thingy, because you gotta look after your ego and stuff. But big respect to Killer for doing this in a mature way.
Somebody thinks that I'm not actually angry. Ryzak Gaming says that
let me ask this.
Angry, and I'm just doing stuff to spin, and he can go fuck himself. Get out of my.
I have to. Wow, nice job. I have to ask this though. So you make the joke about Faction Titans. When's the last time the Snuff used theirs?
That is a total like what?
What? What do you mean?
No, you were saying that he memed about his Faction Titans. Anyways, I'll come back to that later. I'll ask you about that later.
I want to go back to like this. Okay, so Pinov apologizes to Dark Shines. That's out in the open now. But just to clarify, I want to get a formal. I didn't. Does Pinov have any formal position in Snuffed Out?
No.
Is he a CEO?
Well, yeah, he's a CEO of a corp, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I know. I just want to clarify that because I actually wasn't sure whether he was the CEO or not, because I hadn't looked into that. Okay, this is. Okay.
I mean, Pinif and Shines like sorted out between themselves. Shine said like it's not your fault, it's CCP's fault anyways. I don't understand why you're slandering my member so hard for this. Like, you should really get Dark Shines on here and talk this through, I guess. Like, you're kind of overreacting through this.
What are you saying, that they are overreacting, or saying that I'm overreacting?
You're kind of overreacting at the Pinif thing, right? Like, if you had full evidence, yeah.
So wait a second. You're talking about fucking evidence. This isn't Space Court. I know what Pinif did. I wasn't sure that there would be an admission that he apologized. I've actually known about a number of these things because of fucking spies and these people running their mouths in channels that have nothing to do with NDAs or CSMs or any of these kind of things. This has just been exposed. And what's been bothering me about this in many ways is the fact that there's been this ham-handed attempt to just whistle and act like, oh, yes, this, for example, this Moloch was transferred because of reasons, because, that's how you get Titans out of Delve and, teehee, what the fuck ever. That is annoying to me when people try to hide things around that. I don't think I'm overreacting, and also I kind of get to determine whether I'm overreacting. Overreacting would be blaming Snuff. Overreacting would be blaming Initiative for a weird transfer between Dark Shines and this and Pinif over the Moloch. And I don't either blame Snuff or Initiative for the actions of individuals. Why was Darkshine selling a Moloch to somebody in Snuff who's outside the coalition, which is against all of our rules?
Yeah, that was my next question.
I said once again, he didn't sell the Titan to Pinif. It basically got indirectly sold to Pinif. He wasn't in the knowledge it got sold. Because I spoke to Shines myself afterwards, right? And you can confirm that yourself with Darkshine.
So Darkshine said he sold it to a guy in Initiative.
Don't pull Darkshine into this.
Oh god, Salvar fucking hard, and that's funny. I banned the.
So here we go. All right, so here we go. So I got this directly from Darkshine's. This makes the Pinif thing a lot more questionable because Darkshine said he didn't sell it to Pinif directly. He sold it to a guy in Initiative. who just happens to be fucking Peanut Smash. I mean, if you're going to go that shady of a route to get the Moloch and then turn around and try to get somebody banned with said Moloch, I'm pretty sure, and I'm sorry,
so if Dark Shines sold it to somebody else and there was some sort of way, then who was it that sold who is the individual in all these questions? If we want to have evidence and we want to have the truth and I'm wrong about stuff, who was the individual that sold the Moloch to Peanut Smash?
I mean, I'm gonna have to ask Peanut, I guess. It's obviously gone through some weird pathway, right? Like, either it was someone is like his alt in it or something like that, right? Because obviously you can't sell supers out of the Imperium and we're not in the Imperium, right?
Peanut's alt in Initiative? Peanut has an alt in Initiative?
I don't know, dude.
If he did, I mean, why would Peanut be spying on Initiative when you guys are blue? That leads to the next question. Like, what is that about?
I guess to buy a Moloch and move it up. Or goons, right?
Is that's a pretty way to sour a relationship. I mean, I like Initiative, I like Snuff, especially Haiwanto. That's why I like having you on the show. But that would be something if I was the leader is going, whoa, wait a minute here, what the fuck? Why is a spy buying a Titan from one of our biggest FCs and then trying to get him banned?
Like, well, actually, here's the thing. I don't know if this is true or not, because there's some guys from Pandemic Legion that were in PL with him. And like my animus towards Peanut comes from his days in PL and just being generally a shitty person who's after Goonswarm and has been forever. People are saying that Peanut has been gunning for Initiative for 10 years. Is that actually true? Like, does he have, like, is there really this history? I would like somebody that we recognize, like if Headliner could speak to this, somebody that we know. Okay, so Headliner is saying that's not true. Yeah, because it didn't really... I don't really know anybody who would be gunning for Initiative. Initiative isn't really an alliance that you're like, man, I'm really angry at Initiative. They're broadly pretty well liked. Headliner is saying, okay, good, I'm glad to clear this up. Thank you, Headliner. So again, now we're going to be fair to Peanut here. Not once in the decade that Peanut was in Pandemic Legion did he have a conversation with him about in it. So yeah, because that doesn't make really all that much sense, because like, why would Peanut necessarily be...
Do you want me to tell you why? Here's why I think Peanut goes after Initiative. Snuff leaves the Imperium. I mean, we're blue, not blue, and we're blue troll and all, but you're not blue to me right now. Now you have Penef all of a sudden joins Snuff. And now he's poking at Initiative. He's poking at the fringe of the Imperium, because Initiative is in Fountain. They do their own thing. They tend to do their own thing pretty regularly. They're not what I would say like say TNT or Bastion. They tend to do their own thing, and they're very powerful in that way. So how do you split off Initiative? Well, you create some internal hate, right? You get some friction going inside the alliance, and you try and split them off. Now, what's the best way to do that? You get their biggest FCs banned, and then you start pointing the finger at the CSF. You start... maybe I'm just thinking too much into this, and there's too much tinfoil.
I'm so angry, I only just now noticed that you have a bee on your head, Bo. I don't know how long you've had the bee on your head, and I just...
You want to know what's really great about this bee? It squeaks. Oh god, you're cutting out. Let the robot begin. Oh god. It's saying Discord is at like 300 ping. Oh god. Oh, can you hear me?
I had to disconnect and reconnect from Discord.
Yeah, Discord, it just, there it goes. All right, it's fixed itself.
Mitani, so I've just got clarification from Bliss that it was sold to a courtmate of Darkshine's who then joined Snuff, and that guy then sold it to Peanut Smash. So it was a guy who joined Snuff from Init and then sold the Titan.
Who?
I believe it was Taras.
All right, well, if we can find out that actual name, I'd like to have that chain of causality. So one of the things that Capcoop brought up, and this is back to the CCP stuff. So again, we want to be fair at every level, regardless of emotions and things like that. When we have, like, let's say even if there was some sort of weird conspiracy involving Peanut or whatever, which Headliner had some useful things to say, Capcoop points out that this is a illustration of the, let's see, what is it? A reminder, CCP are a joke. It's not necessarily true, but Netanya was 100% justified. We told people, I didn't say that exactly. This incident is another example of the CCP's process being crap. Well, thankfully, I hope that they will have learned their lesson from this big public shit show. I mean, time will tell. But it is disturbing to see some of the same people that were involved with the no scions rule controversy on the CSM a couple of years ago cropping up in this nonsense in any capacity. So it's definitely pretty fucked up. Oh, so Tarasenko already had a Moloch before he left. Oh, interesting.
This is going to be an interesting thing. I don't know. There'll be more to discuss there, but I do want to segue because we have about 12 minutes left, and we might go over this time because this is a topic I've been wanting to get to for 2 weeks, and we have our guest Career here, who has been wonderfully sitting here quietly, and since we like to talk about war on this show, I do want to get to the Nelson Car Hour because Killer B's here, so I have to ask him a question too. Okay, so Career is here. Career, if you'd like to take a moment, introduce yourself, and tell us who you are.
Welcome to the shit show, dude.
Thank you. Yes, let me introduce myself first. And at first, my English is not good thing. It's probably worst thing in the planet. So I'm sorry for all listening right now. So I'm CEO of XIX, former CEO of former Geminate Coalition. Why former? Because when you lost all, you should organize something new, right? And I would like to tell you about the FIRE coalition, our new coalition of Russian-speaking alliances. Because when we met with the other CEOs of other alliances, we made decision to have some union because we're divided. We have space in, I don't know, in various parts of galaxy, and we can do nothing alone. And it's a good idea. We thought that it's a good idea to have some union, to have something, I don't know, bigger, to have opportunity to do something bigger. And we made coalition. We found finally name of that coalition because final reunion, it means that if we will fail, I don't know, we have war right now against Chinese in our current war, it will be impossible to do something in the future, because if we'll fail right now, no one alliance, a Russian-speaking alliance, even united Russian-speaking alliances, they will not able to do something as we trying to do right now.
What can you tell us about your plans? I think it's always cool when you see a new coalition form. It's a pretty rare thing in the game in general. It doesn't happen every day. What can you tell us about what direction you're headed in? Is there a particular region or a conflict that you're seeking? Are you going to be trying to carve out a bunch of territory for yourselves? What should we look forward to from your new coalition?
Well, in fact, we right now in recovery mode because we lost, XX at first, and and our allies, we lost everything. And when I sat and tried to analyze what we did wrong, I got so long as black dick list of points what we did wrong, and we're trying to fix it at first because we lost roll calls. When they were boosted by CCP, we don't have a super capital fleet, and I tried to understand why. Because as you can see, almost all Russian-speaking alliance, they don't have super capital fleets, super capital doctrine. They're trying to build them, but I don't know why we don't have. Maybe it's just a part of our mentality. Maybe we're just cannot do it in general. I don't know. But does it matter? Because I know Russian-speaking pilots, they can fight against super capitals even by subcaps. We show it several times already. and our goal right now is revenge, because a lot of enemies who took our space, a lot of enemies who uh, have I don't know, profit from our former space, and a lot of traitors who lives right now and happy. And our goal to break them, and just to show that they did something wrong as well.
Excellent. What could you tell? I'm aware of what happened. For a while, Legion of Death did lose their space, and Tess and the Legacy Coalition offered them a couch. But for our viewers that are unaware of sort of the background here, could you describe? You don't have to go into too much detail, but basically, like, tell us, how you ended up. What happened? You guys lost your space. What war was that where that occurred?
Well, it was pretty long war. Let me just remember. That war starts from 2017, from the August, and almost 10 months we had war in about 4 or 5 fronts. GOTG attacked us once. We had timers in Drawnlands. We had timers in Geminate because it was our capital region, our home. And on the south, we had at least 2 fronts because Tumray attacked our allies, and well, a lot of fronts. And 10th month, it was long war, and of course we tired. It was a reason why we lost all. When you have timers, I don't know, 2 months timers in USTZ, and even for Russians, it's pretty complicated thing.
You can only alarm clock for so long before your
Yes.
people burn out. Yeah,
That's
that
a
makes
reason.
sense. Well, I'm pretty pleased to see it because Legion of Death is a very storied alliance. For viewers that are unaware of the history, way back in the day, in Red Alliance, there were these 3 leaders of Red Alliance. One, of course, was Maktep or Master, then Death himself, and Nink or Poops, depending upon whether you're speaking Russian. And then Red Alliance sort of split apart, and you had Legion of Death, and Solar Fleet came from this. And so these have been longtime allies of ours, and one circumstance or another, off and on over the years. And it's I think a testament to the resilience. What can you maybe tell us, Kara? What was it? You guys lost a war, and that sucks. The Imperium has lost wars before, and it sucks. What was it that kept you guys going, and then allowed you to sort of have this resurgence and make a new coalition? Like, what was it that kept your guys together? Maybe you could tell us about that.
Well, it can be described by one single phrase. When all Russian-speaking alliances, in fact, not all of them, because it was pretty big drama when we announced that we will have coalition Red Alliance, Dangerous Voltage, and XIX. A lot of other Russian-speaking alliances or just players in Gunswarm, in Test, and in Snuffbox, and in almost all alliances, because Russians, they are just everywhere. They began to throw shit on us because blah blah blah. You are just losers. You cannot do anything, etc. etc. But the main reason why we made decision to have some union, because we had shit from each other. I don't know how long, about years probably. When we were as allies with the Red Alliance, for example, it was in 1211. It was 7 years ago.
My God, I've been playing this game for a long time.
Yes, yes. So 7 years were enemies, and we made a decision to stop it because together we can do much more. We have one single language. We can speak pretty fast, and as for me, it's pretty complicated to speak in English because I know I don't know just 10 words, and and that's it. It's pretty complicated to have some conversation and negotiations with English-speaking pilots, SEALs, etc. And together with the Red Alliance and Dangerous Voltage, and I hope other alliances will come, because we announced that we will forget all debts to each other and organize something bigger and mighty. Will be better for all us.
I think it's going to be interesting. It's been a while since we saw a real sort of attempt to get the sort of RA band back together. And I also just want to compliment you, Kar, on your English. I know before he came on the show, he was a little bit concerned about it. And he speaks better English than a lot of native speakers that I know. So you're doing great, dude.
I've known Korea a long time. And here's an interesting tidbit about this war, and probably why you haven't heard it much outside the meta show. These are Russians in Russian time fighting against Chinese in Chinese time. And this is all downtime. This is all early downtime. I mean, occasionally you'll have like Elo Knight faction of fraternity versus test faction of U.S. time zone, but it really is Euro time or earlier. And not a lot of people play at that time except for these particular groups. So to see a kind of like China versus Russia fight on Tranquility is very interesting, because I don't think it's ever happened. Used to be, it was Russia versus Bob, and Bob was Euro, and then it was Russia versus NC Dot, and NC Dot was Euro US, and Russia versus whatever, and then the Russians always got together. And now you're starting to see with the PIBC thing, all Chinese versus all Russian. And of course, Test is very heavily involved here. So this is a very interesting war that has just gotten started. That some might say has been a continuation of other wars in the past, but this is kind of fresh to Eve. Very rarely do you have a situation where something new like this is kicked off. And one comment I want to make, and I want to get Kira, your opinion on. I just cut out. Sorry, Kira, I want to get your
comment you want to make.
Yeah, comment I want to make and get your opinion on is it feels like there was a battle in 77 SB today. It feels like back when we used to live in that place, that was a great wall. You didn't really cross that line very much. Otherwise, it was dangerous. And with the Age of Titans that they are now, it honestly feels like that 77S gap on their side of things, they could use their Titans and they could drop Titans and Supers. And on your side of things, in like 46 DP, you guys could drop Supers and Titans. How is that playing out in the war currently?
Well, right now situation is very complicated because their tactics, I mean Chinese tactics, to set China's Sina jammers everywhere. Just for example, last timer on one of those reinforced systems, they reinforced about, I don't know, 12 or probably more systems around. And I don't know who made new Sina jammers so gay, probably because you should spend about, I don't know, an hour to kill all Sina jammers in one single system. About 15-20 minutes for each, and they can set free in every system. And they just Sina jumped all systems around timer, and it's impossible to drop your super capitals or capitals, even capitals, just stupid faxes. But they can do same in any second. And 5 minutes, they just close system again. It's very complicated, and it's really big challenge to hit them, to I don't know, to have some victory there, because they have blob, they have advantage in strategic level, and they have everything, in fact. And right now we have a lot of success there. No, we're trying to find a key, but still in progress.
Would you say this current war favors the defenders? Like if they come to your side, it's easier for you guys to defend, and if you go to their side, it's harder to hit them because they could just do the Sino Jammer thing and the jump bridges and all that. Is that what you're saying?
You got it again.
Oh, did I cut out again? Oh no. So you're saying it's hard to be on the offensive with the current mechanics as the way they are right now, as far as like Sino Jammers and iHubs and everything, correct?
Yeah, And Neuros, the CEO of Winter Coalition, he said on his sorted that they will attack us. They will active in this war. Well, all what we saw last times is just attacks from Ski Reserve Corporation and probably some random timers around us and Citadel spam, usual gay things. Well, that's it. So the only one who trying to find key here, it's Legacy and we are. Because alone, I mean, Fiery Coalition, it's impossible to fight them. It's just so fucking blob. It's just ridiculous. But
We have a
it's, as I said,
suggestion here. We have a suggestion here that we deploy Goonswarm to attack Fraternity. One of the reasons why we never got involved in that war is one of the same reasons why, if we were a more of a Russian-oriented alliance, we do have a bunch of Russians in Goonswarm, but you do need to be able to fight an entity that's close to you time zone-wise. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there for Kara. I also completely lost track of time. We've been so there's just been so much drama here.
Wonderful.
That I didn't realize that we had sort of run over here. I do want to say that I don't like to make any decisions when I'm angry or anything like that because emotion is poison in many ways. So we are going to look into attempting to trace the transaction chain if there was somebody that the whole PNF to a third party to dark shines kind of thing happened. And if we can find evidence involving that, we will post that to make sure, if we're wrong about this, we want to be open about being wrong about it. So if we have to eat some crow and I need to apologize, then we will totally do that. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Before we dip out really quick, I do have a question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I'm being asked by a lot of Russian people in a Discord that I sit in. They're asking where did the money from drone lands from 2013 to 2018 go? Like, where's the super fleet from?
It's my favorite question because when I will leave this game, I hope it will be pretty soon because I'm tired from this shit. Well, I will, I don't know, publish all statistics about income, about where money goes, etc., etc. And you will see that tales about that drone lands can give, I don't know, bazillions isks every second. It's just a joke. And
well, Skill Yourself and Hard Knocks make a lot of money, right? Hard Knocks is making like 500, 600 bill a month, and Skill Yourself is making a fair amount.
Yeah, indeed, but just check their prices and check our prices. Every time when we take, when we were in Dronelands, our prices were lowest in the galaxy. That's why we had boost of Shadow Alliance, Renton Alliance pretty fast every time.
I don't mean to interrupt. I got a question. How want you say they're making 600 bill a month? Then why is Skill You only able to fly Munins over? Like, if they're making so much money, why don't they ever use anything? No, I've never seen it. I've never seen them use supers.
Their super fleet is massive. Like, they pull a really good number of supers and titans per main. Like,
well, the last time I saw their supers and titans was in X40, or was down in the fight with PL, and I'm pretty sure Tess had them camped in a week. So, I mean, if it's so big and massive and as large as my super fleet, I mean, yeah, sure, but I'm just saying, like, if they got all this money and they got all these supers and they want to throw shade in chat, Capku, I mean, I haven't seen your supers do much since you got trapped for a week by test. So I'm just saying, like,
if you want to throw shade, you throw shade at Hard Knocks, dude. Like,
I don't even know about Hard Knocks. Don't even think exists because I kill their oracles every once in a while.
I love this fucking show. I have to congratulate all of us collectively on the show, except for Carr because he has not really been flinging shit. But the rest of us, we are just doing a fantastic job of throwing shit on the walls today.
I will say this. I will say this. As much as I'm going to throw shade about the fact that he has no supers, every battle report I've seen from Skill U in the last 3 months, Skill U never lose a fucking ship. I don't think they've ever lost an Eagle in an Eagle fleet on any battle report I've ever seen. I don't know if it's because they're slippier than PL when it comes to third party and they sit 200k away with Spike every battle, but I don't ever see them die. Like,
they're a constant entity and they pick their fights well. It's
they only shoot
part of the
renters.
elitism.
Okay.
How you may die when you're shooting from 200 kilometers?
Yes, that's exactly what I thought. Okay.
Oh my.
Beautiful.
Okay. Well.
Beautiful.
Okay, I'm before any of us end up having an aneurysm. Yeah, so we're going to keep looking into this whole like Brisk thing, and if we're wrong about stuff, we will make a point of apologizing or
correcting it next week,
presenting the evidence next week. I want to thank everybody for coming on today. I think it was very brave for Killa B to turn up. I want to thank Hai for getting on here, and I want to apologize to anybody in Snuff that thought that we were trying to keep him off here. I know the first part of the show was a little bit slow and weird because I was looking out in the other window going, how can we get Hai on here? This is ridiculous. Why is he not on? So yeah, thanks guys. Tough topic, difficult times.
One little thing, please.
Go ahead.
I just read question in chat. Does anyone seriously believe fire can invade Winter Coalition? Just small thing. Yes, we are estimating our forces, our power very objectively, and it's possible to do it alone, of course. So we're trying to be together with a legacy because they have some questions against Winter Coalition as well, voting as you write on Reddit. So we're doing it together, of course. Without test, without legacy, it's impossible. But when you're in recovery mode, just ask yourself what you can to do when you're just trying to rebuild yourself. Of course, you should use something, some help.
Yeah, I think that's only
all.
natural. Like, you need allies. Autocrats are always trading couches to each other. Like, it's a normal thing in the life cycle of an Alliance of Eve to, lose a war and then you crash on somebody's couch until you get back on your feet.
Yeah, real quick, before we go, this is a thing we haven't done in a long time, but whenever we have an international guest, we give them an opportunity to speak in their native language. We used to do that every time we'd have like a spotlight on a different region of Eve. So, Career, if you want to say anything in Russian to all the listeners from Russia that are here, because we have a lot of Russian listeners from Evening Goons who are interested in you coming on, if you could share that in Russian, that'd be awesome. Literally anything you want to say.
Okay, I have one idea. Господа, те, кто русскоязычные пилоты сейчас меня слушают, самая главная вещь в этой игре — играть в свою игру и не кидаться говном в того человека, который играет какую-то свою игру. Вы думаете, что он играет в эту игру неправильно. Вот и все. Это самое главное. Спасибо.
I think it always sounds really badass.
I love Russian.
It's a really cool, beautiful language.
When I was a newbie in Eve, I would hang out with Russians. I just love Russian language. Go ahead.
Ty Tolstoya korova, bля.
All right, boys and girls, great show. If I don't know if anybody wants to have any last words before we all wander off and take a chill pill. Killa, do you want to have any other further comments on the CSM nonsense while I eat an apple on live TV?
I'm glad it's more or less over. Let's just say that.
Props, Killa, for doing it in a mature. No memes.
All right, yeah.
I'm really looking forward to talking about spaceships again on the CSM instead of other stuff. So, yeah.
High fives all around. Yeah. High drama. And once again, keep in mind, I want people to have the correct perspective of this. You can call it a spin if you want. Even if I'm getting butt blasted about things involving Peanut Smash, which is very easy to do because he's a traitor to Goonswarm and has been shooting us for like a decade. None of this player drama and any of the things that the players end up doing or blaming each other or anything about any of the shit should never have mattered, because the job of the professionals at CCP Games is to actually look into the evidence and make sensible decisions, and certainly not use Brisk's real name in all of these articles. So whatever we end up doing, whether people want to blame Killa B, whether people want to blame Peanut Smash, wherever we point our fingers, keep in mind that none of this should have ever gotten to the point that we would even be talking about it on the Meta Show. What should have happened originally is if Peanut gave this stuff to Killa B to report to CCP, Killa has to kick it up the chain. He kicks it up the chain, and then in a more ideal world, CCP would have been adults, investigated the evidence, realized there was nothing there, and we would have never heard of it. No one would have known anything about any of this stuff if it wasn't for a bunch of fuck-ups on CCP's part. And to the credit of CCP, at the very end, they did actually come out and post an apology blog. And I hope that the people at CCP who are in charge of their PR will be individually contacting everyone in the media who wrote a story about how Brisk was guilty and bad, and that went very far in the international press, individually contacting those media outlets that smeared Brisk's name, which was CCP's fault, and making sure that those media outlets print corrections and retractions on every single article. Every article that we see out there that says that Brisk sucks should have some fucking bold letters at the top or at the bottom that says, wait a second, this was all bullshit. Here's a link to CCP's apology. Because at the end of the day, most of the stuff we're talking about here is shit in the game. Darkshines and Pando get banned temporarily. That sucks. Brisk gets banned temporarily. That sucks. But the fact that his real name was out there and that CCP did this, they need to make amends by getting those corrections and retractions printed. And that is all I have for this week. Thank you all for coming.
Same.
I appreciate your forbearance. And
that was a lot of fun. So yeah, we're off. Bye.
Thanks for coming.
The PDIF report. The PDIF gate report for
Bye.
next week. We'll see. Yeah, thanks everyone. See you guys later.
Cheers, guys.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.